What's up, people? Another episode of Just for Sport. Jumoke Davis here with you. I hope you're doing well. Getting ready for another exciting weekend of sports. It is the Final Four, if you will. I guess Monday's not really the weekend, but I'm excited to get to what is the culmination of 68 teams trying to make it to the championship game and be crowned the winner, cut the nets, have their one shining moment. We're going to talk about that. We'll also talk about the NBA and the jockeying for position. My disappointed in Morant and the Wizards. Two separate topics. NHL. It isn't just one player in the NHL that is having a historic season or going to be making history in one case, hopefully, cross my fingers, but two. And you should be finding a way to get to see both of them. And I am. History being made. And we'll also talk about women's college basketball. Little story on that. Just something that's been percolating in my mind. But we're going to start with Major League Baseball. All right? The reason why, because at the end, I'm going to do my gut check picks for the Final Four. If you have not seen that in my short video on Instagram or TikTok, Facebook. It is on Threads too. It's an interesting start to the season in my mind. Because one, I already feel like my predictions are partially off some. I'm not sweating already, but it's definitely like, well, wait a minute, time out. This season's already upside down. It's upside down. Now, the main prediction, the one that has me most confident in my gut check pick, if you will, are the LA Dodgers. Now, they've already made history. They're 8-0. I said that they're going to win 118 games this season. Now, if I get that on the nose, wow, that's amazing. But my main thought is that they're going to break the record of 117. That was the main thing. But to be not only 8-0 to start the season, which is history unto itself, to have game-winning walk-off home runs by Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, it's already starting off as a magical season. Already. It is taking on a life of its own, if you will. And how can you not be excited? You have to be excited if you are a baseball fan. Because you're seeing history right in front of your eyes. You're seeing arguably the greatest team of all time in the Dodgers with the greatest lineup. Maybe when you look back on it, maybe not, in one season it can be encapsulated as that. But maybe when you look back on the season, you'll see that this was arguably the best starting pitching ever as well. Best bullpen. Best bench. 8-0. Their run differential is at plus 22. Right? As of my recording of this. And the only thing that will somewhat take away from the Dodgers' 8-0 start is the fact that the Padres are also undefeated at 7-0. That is the first surprise for me. I do think the Padres are a playoff team. I think they're a really good team. But to also be undefeated early in this season, it's pretty exciting. Now, on the flip side, I am, and I'm sure you're stunned too, at the Braves being 0-7. I picked them to win the NL East. I thought they would bounce back. This is no way to start a season. They are on the opposite end of the Dodgers, not just in the fact that they haven't won a game, at minus 18 run differential. Boy, I mean, I just never expected this. And can they turn it around? Right? I mean, I said the Mets wouldn't make the playoffs. They're at 500, so nothing really to talk about there right now. But man, Jumoke, you may have missed the mark already. You know, it's funny because I initially was going to say the Phillies, and I was like, no, I think the Braves are kind of that team that they are just always there, like the Tampa Bay Rays. And the start 0-7 is just like, I don't know. Maybe, Jumoke, you were overthinking it. Rangers are 5-2. I had the Rangers. Cubs are 5-4. Before I jump out of back all fully out of the National League. Cubs are 5-4. Rangers are 5-2 in the early season. I had the Athletics as a sleeper. They're 2-5, which is not good. The entire AL Central, as of this pod recording, they're all tied. So I'm not really wrong there in picking the Detroit Tigers, but they're all tied with a less than stellar record of 2-4. You almost want to take a picture of that to show that they're all 2-4. I think it's kind of interesting, right? But it's very, very, very early analysis of my gut check season picks. Toronto Blue Jays sit atop the AL East. I always think, just like last year, the AL East is going to be the toughest division. Maybe all 5 teams will have a winning record at the end of the season. But the Red Sox, I picked them to win the AL East, and they're 3-4. They won 2 in a row, but that also means, man, they started the season 1-4. Rafael Devers not playing well, striking out a lot. Maybe it's just kind of growing pains, and they will get it together. My Orioles, 3-4. Not bad. Not bad. My Nationals, 1-5. If it wasn't for the Braves being as bad as they are, the Nationals will be where we expect them to be, unfortunately. They're turning a corner. Maybe they're going to be like the Orioles in like 3 years. But James Wood's not playing very well. And the Pirates are 2-5. Now, I've talked to some friends and colleagues that all love baseball. And they're like, hey, you know, at least Pirates, they had a good middle of the season. Maybe they're going to start bad and end good. For the Nationals, right? All of a sudden, it was starting to click for the Orioles 2 years ago. Maybe all of a sudden it will click for the Nationals. That is quite possible. I hope so. There's no doubt in my mind that someday we will get the Nationals back at that championship level of 2018. I think so. But early on, I don't know. The other storyline not related to one team are these torpedo bats. It is a story that we are latching on to, but to me, it's just simply not that big a deal. The Yankees weren't the first team to use the torpedo bats. They were used in the playoffs last year, right? As it stands, Jazz Chisholm didn't even start the season with the torpedo bat and then switched later. The only story for me with the torpedo bats is the science of it. I find it interesting. How did it just get to this point where we're using the torpedo bat? And then the other thing is, realistically, it's an early observation of a torpedo bat, but you know what? All of the teams are going to be using them before you know it because it's legal. The Yankees aren't doing anything illegal. And all of a sudden, everybody's going to have a torpedo bat, and then that's the end of it. That's the end of it. What I want to end right now, because I really love him as a player. I love his game. I would like to say I love his attitude. But Ja Morant's got to stop the foolishness. Right? They're playing the Golden State Warriors, one of the classiest organizations of all time. And him and Buddy Hield are pointing doing gun gestures with their fingers at each other. And I saw the video. If you didn't see the video, you see Steph Curry like, yo, what are you doing? Well, not in like a, hey, Ja, get it together, but like, yo, look at this dude. Come on, Ja. That's just my plea here. Stop making dumb, stupid mistakes in your career. You've lost endorsements. You're trying to get them back. You've been suspended already twice. Get it together, man. Come on. Use your brain. I know you got one, right? And there are going to be people out there just like maybe he doesn't have one because he obviously doesn't get it. And that's the part that really makes me sad. What do you not get about stop doing gun gestures? Have you not learned your lesson already? I know you have. Well, no, I'm sorry. You didn't, obviously, because you did it again. And that's got to already a team that just fired Taylor Jenkins, that said that the locker room is in disarray. You're losing. You're almost out of the playoffs as we look at the standings right now. You should be better than this. You're in the play-in tournament. Tied with the Clippers and the Timberwolves, a half a game below the Warriors. That was a game you needed to win to be in the tournament, right? Not just the play-in tournament. There's a real race here. And I almost said a word I shouldn't say, and I didn't say it, so I'm okay there. But when you look at the jockeying for position, you've got the Suns and the Kings a game apart. You've got the Dallas Mavericks, man. You got Anthony Davis back. He hits a game winner, took some stitches for it. He may be putting on that cape, being like Superman. I'm here to save the Dallas Mavericks. And Nico, by the way. Nico Harrison. But when you're in this spot, right? You're the Grizzlies. And I think that Adam Silver, unfortunately, well, it is his MO, maybe took it easy on Ja Morant. Took it easy on the Grizzlies. Because he could have very well have suspended Ja Morant for the gun gestures. He could have, and he didn't. So, another term that I'm not going to use, but you know the Memphis Grizzlies, they dodged something. It's a half a game that separates 1, 2, 3, 4 teams, Warriors, Timberwolves, Grizzlies, Clippers. Every game matters. Every game. Every game. And I'm not going to go into my diatribe about load management and how every one of these games you gambled on. Lakers and Nuggets, tied. Percentage points. Lakers are 46-29. Denver Nuggets are 47-30. They're going to be jockeying the whole rest of the season. The whole rest of the season. You got about 8, 9 games in some cases. This is it. This is it. Now, the biggest disappointment for me, if they don't catch them, are the Phoenix Suns. Budenholzer, I think he's gone. I think he probably was sweating when they fired Taylor Jenkins. Oh, shoot, maybe I'm going to be gone sooner than later. And maybe that might not have been a bad move. The Suns are just... You can chalk it up to injuries. You can. I mean, Durant's out again. Beal's out. Booker's trying to hold the team together. Who knows when Beal not so much coming back, But when they'll be 100% healthy, yeah, they're probably going to come back. They aren't shut down for the season, but they're not going to be 100%. And my worry is that the sun is setting on Phoenix, that they're going to have to blow it up. They're going to have to and try to start over. And maybe that's what the owner wants. Why pay 3 players $50+ million a year when you can trade them all, get some assets, start over? And if, because he's a new owner, so maybe he wants to just have his own team. And I get that. As sad as that is, I get it. And it might be necessary. It really might. But that's really unfortunate. That's more of a disappointment than the Spurs not making the playoffs, because you knew when the injuries happened to Wembanyama and then they shut down De'Aaron Fox that it just wasn't going to be the same. And Greg Popovich, health-wise, isn't doing well. They'll be back. I think they'll be back. I really do. But I'm just amazed at how bad the Phoenix Suns are. I don't quite get it. I don't quite get it. In the East, the play-in and playoff teams are set. There's no chance that any of these teams are going to fall out of the playoffs. So if you're a Bulls fan, you're a Heat, Hawks, or Magic, you're like, yes, we at least got the play-in tournament. But there's still some jockeying there. And where do you want to go? If you're the Bulls, you are 3.5 out from the Magic. Probably not going to catch them. 2 games behind the Hawks. Maybe. Heat, you're a game behind. There's some jockeying there. Who do you want to play? You want to play the Celtics, or do you want to play the Cavs? That's what it comes down to. And I don't think any of those teams, it's like, I'll just play whomever. I don't know if it matters as much. I think Cleveland is very strong. The Celtics are strong too. The jockeying comes down to really in the playoff seeds 1 through 6. The Pistons and Bucks are a half a game out. And Giannis saying that they're playing for their playoff lives. I see it. I get it. And they won a big game playing for their playoff lives. The surprise to me is how, when you think of how well the Cleveland Cavaliers were playing, and I guess to an extent I'm going to say still playing, sort of. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Celtics are 9-1 in their last 10. Remember when they were like 13, 14 games behind Cleveland? They're now only 5 games back. They have come all the way back, and they're pretty much almost neck and neck with the Cavs now. And to me, well, all along it put pressure on the Cavs. The pressure is definitely on the Cavs because the Celtics are defending champs. But the way they're creeping up to the Cavs, Cavaliers, you better let them know. This is a season to really let them know. No, this is our year. And I don't know if they can do that. But they need to get it together. 5-5 in their last 10 going into the playoffs is not a good look. Pacers 8-2. Miami Heat have won 6 in a row. They have their joy, right? I mean, that's not going to happen. But man, a Heat Warriors playoff, woo! That would be wild to me. What else is wild? And I'm not really going to get into it. I want to kind of save it for when we don't have a you know that there are times where you don't really have a lot to talk about. There are going to be dead times in sports. I want to save it for a dead time. But seeing the excitement for the the flourishing of former players in the media. And I know that Gilbert Arenas is up for a Webby Award for all he's doing with Gil's Arena. all the way up to John Wall now being on television. He was on NBA TV as an analyst and calling games too. I still marvel at the number of former Washington Wizards that are doing something in the media space. It's a lot of them. And it's not a big deal. I get it. And I'm not going to go into it completely. But I will say that I am impressed. If you look at the Washington Wizards back in like 05, 06, and I look at all the players who are in the media now or used to be. Etan Thomas, Gilbert Arenas, Caron Butler used to be in the media. Antonio Daniels, Brendan Haywood. That's 5 right there. You can throw in Nick Young, right? Now we're getting John Wall in the media as well. If there is a all NBA media team, an all media team, I think many of the Wizards would be on it. I think they have been really good on television. I got a couple stories I'll share another day because I'm going to move on to another topic. But Drew Gooden's in the media. Also another former Wizard. JaVale McGee. He's always doing media things. Nick Young on Gil's Arena. But I remember him back in the day when we used to do videos with Nick Young and Dominic McGuire. I got some stories. I'll share them another day. But if you can, support Gil Arenas in his pitch to win a Webby Award. You got to vote for him in order to get it. What you don't have to vote for, but I think you all would, is to see 2 great players making history. And if you haven't been to a game, to see Alex Ovechkin pass Wayne Gretzky, the great one, the great 8 passing the great one for most goals scored ever in a career. He's what, 3 away, 4 away? I don't want you to not know this. That history is also being made by Sidney Crosby, also against the great one. And that's where it's like, this may be one of the better seasons in the NHL. It is amazing to see 2 players. Crosby, 20th straight season with a point per game. A point per game. Can you imagine that? That would have to be an assist or a goal every game for 20 straight seasons. Most in NHL history. No one's going to catch Wayne Gretzky in his assists and goals scored. We know that. Right? Or we know that. I'm not even going to just say I know that. You know that too. Never going to happen. Connor McDavid may have the best shot at it, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't. But I am amazed to watch the parallel of these 2 players, right? They were taken a year apart in the draft, and you've seen their careers right next to each other, from rivalry to hating each other to probably a real healthy respect for each other as they are now on the tail ends of their career. Crosby's won more Stanley Cups. But this year, Ovi's got a real chance with the Caps to close the gap. 105 points, 75-48 record. the most points in the Eastern Conference and a point behind the Winnipeg Jets. It's going to be a tough road to win it all. It will. The Winnipeg Jets, 106 points. The Dallas Stars, 102 points. Toronto Maple Leafs, 96 points. It isn't quite the same. But in this magical season for the Caps, 10 games above Carolina, 9 points above Carolina. How special would that be for Ovi and the Caps to get another Lord Stanley? In an historic season, it could happen. And I'm excited because I'm going to go to the last game of the season between the Pens and Caps. And I hope they both play. If nothing else, because of the rivalry, the respect for each other, the fact that this may be probably not the last game that they're playing against each other, but that's going to be quite special. That's going to be, yeah, that's amazing, and I'm looking forward to seeing the history. Now, I don't know if Ovi, it seems like Ovi probably will have the record before this game, but just the mutual respect for they have for each other, I could see them both taking the ice. I hope so. And I wouldn't mind the Caps winning another Stanley Cup. I mean, come on. You would like that. If you're a Caps fan, you would like that too. You got to. Before I get to the men's NCAA tournament and my gut check pick, are you watching the women's tournament? And I say that because there was a lot of excitement for Caitlin Clark. Rightfully so. She's an amazing talent. And I am impressed with the rejuvenation in women's college basketball and then the W now. But are you watching the tournament with the same fervor that you did for Caitlin Clark? That's my question. You got 3 number ones and a number 2 in South Carolina, Texas, and UCLA as the number ones, and UConn as a number 2. No Juju Watson, unfortunately. When she got hurt, my bracket was busted. I didn't think they had a shot against UConn, and they didn't. But you still got Paige Bueckers, who I think is better than Caitlin Clark. I hope you're going to watch. I hope you're going to watch the greatness in the University of South Carolina, another USC, not that USC. A team that lost to the other 3 teams in Texas, TCU, and UConn that are now, Texas, South Carolina, and UCLA. So South Carolina, the USC, lost to Texas, UConn, and UCLA in the regular season. So they got revenge on their mind. And they're only maybe going to see 2 of the teams. But it's going to be a great tournament starting on Friday, right? The NCAA did the best thing they can do. We got the semifinal for the women on Friday, semifinal for the men on Saturday, championship women's on Sunday, championship men's on Monday. That's a good look. That's a really good look. What isn't a good look is my bracket. It's almost perfect. Almost perfect for the Final Four. Except for one thing. I went with my heart and my gut, and I thought stupidly, that St. John's and their defense in the Big East, Rick Pitino, they're going to muscle their way to the championship. Final Four rather, not championship. This is not going to happen. And so now I sit near the top of winning it all, but I know I can't because I picked St. John's in the Final Four. You got 4 number ones. Auburn, Florida, Duke, Houston. They are all the best. I don't care that it's chalk. I don't. Because you want to see the best teams playing against the best teams. The second Juju went down, I was like, okay, USC. I lost excitement. I was like, But here you have 4 number ones. And they are all in the top 10 in Kim Palm in offensive and defensive rating. And I can't always say Kim Palm because every time I think about it, I'm like, who is Kim Palm? Not even going to go into that. But this is going to be a great, great Final Four. I hope so. I hope all 4 of these teams live up to the hype. They've got to. They've got to live up to the hype and we get some good games. That's what we want. I think in the women's tournament, you're going to get some really good games because UConn is a number 2 seed and UConn is arguably the best team, has the best player in Paige Bueckers. And I hope you get that in the men's final. I actually think UConn is going to win in the women's tournament. That's my gut check pick there. AZ Fudd. Shout out to AZ Fudd from the DMV. I hope she has a good game, but Paige Bueckers is unstoppable. Now on the men's side, my gut check pick is I've got Auburn and Janai Broome beating Florida with that experience. And I know Houston's got defense, but the other 3 have defense too. And Duke may be young, right? They got a lot of freshmen. But they are in the top 5 on offense and defensive rating in the Kim Palm, blah, blah, blah. I think they beat Houston and they get to the final against Auburn. And I like Janai Broome as a player. I do. But I recognize he's had a couple of injuries. Saw a couple games in the regular season. You saw him pull a Willis Reed in the Elite 8 game. He says he's okay, but you never know. Duke's got Cooper Flagg. Number 1 pick. And oh my gosh, I can't believe the Wizards won again. Like, what are we doing? We need all of the ping pong balls we can get to change the trajectory of this franchise. Come on, Wizards. Why are we winning now? But you know what? In the end, it doesn't matter because if it's meant to be, it's going to be. That's what I believe in my heart. If it's meant for the Wizards to get the number 1 pick and get Cooper Flagg, then they will. That's where I'm going to leave it. But I think Duke wins the NCAA championship. They have a deep bench. They get it done on both ends of the floor. And Cooper Flagg is legit. And it's not just Cooper Flagg. When you look at the Duke Blue Devils, as they have been not just this season, Malik Brown, Caleb Foster, Common and Maluak. Hope I said it right. Khan Canupal. These are the cream of the crop. And Duke always gets the best players to an extent. They don't always win. But you know that the All-Americans that they get out of high school, everybody thinks of Duke first. And I can't help but say that I want Duke to win because I want to shut up the SEC. I want the ACC to win it. If my Pitt Panthers can't get it done, and hopefully someday they will be there, then I'm rooting for the ACC. But that was my pick before the season began. When I saw Cooper Flagg playing with USA Basketball, I was like, man, this kid's really good. And here they are. Here they are, as expected. So my gut check pick is going to stay the same in the Duke Blue Devils. And the Devils is in the details. And they've got those details. They know how to win. And I think they get it done. And I hope you enjoy your weekend of sports. Thank you for listening or watching, supporting me, whether on the podcast, YouTube, social media. That'll do it for Just for Sport. I'm Jumoke. Ciao for now.